welcome to another episode of the Health Notebook. Today we're exploring the whole issue of disabilities and impairments once again. Previously we had on the show Mr. Anton Ramando, and today he's invited us into one of... Previously, we had on the show Mr. Anton Ramandan, who is the president of the Para Volleyball Society, and he invited us to one of his training sessions. So we actually go now down to the ground to actually interact with a number of individuals that have impairments and disabilities, and just to get first-hand experience in terms of how they dealt with the injuries and in terms of what the sport has done to them. So what you see happening now is various individuals that either have a single limb amputation or a bilateral limb amputation. They're removing their prosthesis in order to warm up and to prepare to play sport. It's very important that they warm up so that they don't develop any injuries. So let's see what happens. Now, after 5 minutes of warming up, they are now separating into two sides, and they're going to now actually play some sport. So let's have a look at it. As you look at some of the individuals that do have these impairments and disabilities, according to the experiences that you'll actually hear, they will look down in a way. But this sport actually serves as a mechanism where they can actually engage in some type of activity, but also express themselves, speak to other people that have similar impairments and disabilities, and it's also a sort of community gathering as well. So Victor, thank you very much for joining me on the show and to share your experiences with the viewers. So if you could just explain to the viewers exactly what happened. I know you have a prosthesis over there, so just explain to the viewers what actually happened to you that landed you in this particular position that you're now in.
Okay. Yeah, I was involved in a motorbike accident 2013, 3rd of August, when it was on a Friday evening just before midnight. So basically it was just an accident, and then it left my leg. I lost my leg, and I fractured my other leg too.
Okay. Yes. So immediately after the accident, three years ago, what were your thoughts going through your mind in that particular moment?
Well, I thought I had lost everything. To be very precise, I had a feeling, or I had a thought that I had failed myself in life, So I went heavy into alcohol and substance abuse, and until I ended up in rehab. That's when I met volleyball, and all that is I was trying to recreate myself through sports.
Okay, and so what has the sport actually, what has the sport given you? Or I mean, how do you feel now after playing the sport for some time?
Well, I love sport. Not only do I feel good physically, I mean, it's like cardio, you train, exercise, you train a lot. I also feel good when results come, you know what I mean? After training and then you go for matches and all that, the results make you feel good too. And the atmosphere, the people that we meet in sports, you know, the vibe is key. So it's almost like family. It's family.
So it's all the motivation and the support that you're also getting around in terms of other people that have similar disabilities and impairments.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
So you sort of an encouragement to them and an encouragement to you as well.
Both ways. Yes, vice versa.
Okay, now in terms of your personal life as well, I mean, are you working and things like that? If you share.
Well, at the moment I do sports for Western Province. I do athletics too.
Okay.
So I do shot put, javelin, and discus.
But quite a broad range of sports that you partake in.
Yes, yeah, it is. Yeah, with a few SA records in my athletics, I got a few SA records, and we're going for nationals now in March.
That's excellent. I mean, compared to where you were, and as you mentioned, you went through a bad period of time, and to where you now, I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Now, just in terms of the public's reaction, right? You've had the injury, now you're back into society. What was your perceptions, or how did the public perceive you, and what was some of the positives and negatives that you encountered?
Yeah, well, first thing first, I mean, obviously I'm disabled just very physically. You can see it from a distance, you know. So I always had a problem with people feeling sorry for me because then I felt very, very, very disabled. But I always had one friend who would drive me all places, and when we go and maybe pull out at a place, and I still had a wheelchair, but he would like literally walk out of the car and walk away forgetting that I had a wheelchair. He gave me second thoughts about it because he actually never saw my disability. He forgot about it, that I'm disabled. So I thought to myself, if he really doesn't see that I'm disabled, he forgets to remove the wheelchair from the boot, which means I'm not also disabled. Now I must treat myself as not a disabled person. Then I put myself in that manner, I put myself in that sense, and I started pushing each other. So I mean, to a time where I'm walking on streets and all that, then people say, wow, you actually don't have a leg and you're walking proud with your own shorts and all that. Say, because it's the disability that I have is to never change, you know. I'll always be with you. So I feel comfortable.
Now, in terms of a message for the viewers out there, what would you tell those viewers out there in terms of other people that have impairments and disabilities? Is there any message that you can give them that can be a source of hope and inspiration? Yes, you do represent a source of hope and inspiration, but is there any message that you'd like to convey to the viewers?
Well, I like to say it is not the movement of the clock that produces the newness of life. It is the movement in your mind. Once you tell your mind that this is it, you know, once you get settled with your mind, it doesn't really matter if time goes by. You can go 5 years, 6 years, always complain about the same thing. But then if you change your mind, this is where the battlefield is. When you win the wars that are upstairs here in your mind, you don't see anything disabled. Actually, you start calling yourself differently abled. That's what I call myself now. I'm not disabled, I'm just differently able. Because I told myself that I'll still do everything, and even if I'm slow, I'm fast anyway, but I'll still do things like everybody else does. So I like to tell people out there, especially youngsters, just to keep on pushing, never to give up, because these are very rough times. I mean, in life you meet such times. I mean, when I was a youngster, working, trying to earn a living and all that, then this is what happened to me. So I just told myself at one point that I have to push on, you know, the life has to change. So the only message is that you have to just change your mind. Whatever you're going through, trials and tribulations and storms, just change it in your mind and see the positive in every negative. Then I promise you're going to do through.
Thank you, Big T, for coming on the show. It's much appreciated.
Thank you.
And I'm sure your message will be a source of inspiration for others out there. Thank you very much.
Pleasure's all mine.
We decided to get a first-hand experience as how is it to actually play sitting volleyball. So what we've actually done is we've requested one of our cameramen, Racy, to actually go and join them and partake in the sport. So what you actually see on the screen now is Racy, the guy with the cap, and he'll be removing his cap now, actually engaging and forming part of the team, and we'll be tapping into him a little later just to understand what those experiences are and how was it to actually play sitting volleyball, and that will actually give him a perspective in terms of how these individuals play without their limbs. Racy, welcome to the studio.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
As I've just mentioned to the viewers, part of our experiences last week is that we wanted to understand what was the feeling like of these members that have disabilities. So we wanted to take a normal person and actually allow him to engage in the sport, and by actually sitting down and telling us a little bit about his experience compared to a normal volleyball player.
I mean, the very first thing I can say, thank you very much for having me on the show. The very first thing I can say is it's not as simple as it looks. Okay? It's not as easy as it looks. As we were filming around, you know, I thought maybe it was actually quite easy just to maneuver yourself sitting and try to catch a ball or hit it over the net and everything. It's not an easy thing to do.
Okay, so if you can just have a look at some of the footage, and I see you were struggling initially, and if the viewers can just see how you were falling to the back. So if you can just explain a little bit as to what was happening then.
You see, the very first thing that is the most difficult thing to actually like get to control is balance, basically, because as you're sitting, you have to have 4-dimension balance from left, right, front, and back. And these guys are actually like they actually experienced. The thing is, like, I thought maybe they were still in the learning phases and stuff, but they actually they're professional.
Now I also understand that you were a volleyball player.
Yeah.
Now if you contrast the two, sitting volleyball and normal volleyball.
I can tell you that like normal volleyball is kind of a joke, because this is not like it's quite easy. I mean, normal volleyball is quite brutal as well on its own, but this is very deep, man, because when you're sitting, you don't have much balance, so you don't expect someone to just sit there and be a pro, immediately. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of time. You have to invest a lot of time in it to actually practice and understand that when you're sitting, because I was wanting to get up all the time, because you're used to standing up all the time. So whenever the ball was coming to me, I would just want to get up, and catch it or something, and then realize like, everyone else is sitting and it's a norm. So to actually get comfortable and get into that zone where you're like, okay, I need to do everything sitting now, is different.
Okay.
It's totally different, because when you're used to walking or doing everything watching.
And we take our legs for granted.
Yeah,
as well.
we actually do take our legs for granted, because there's a guy that doesn't have both of his legs, and he's like very active. He's like on top of the game, he's doing everything that he can.
And he was relying a lot on his upper body strength as well. So he adapted.
I could actually see that he has a lot of strength here, because he has obviously built all the strength to the upper body, and I was really struggling. I mean, it's not as easy as it looks.
And it takes a lot of motivation as well.
It takes a lot.
And in terms of your engagement with the players as well, I know we were shooting as well.
In terms, they're very very good people. They're welcoming people. They're very gentle. They're very soft. They're happy. And the one thing that actually touched me is I saw one of my friends there that is actually playing there, and I last saw him some time back. He was able-bodied like me, and I see him now. He lost his leg. He was in a bike accident, and he lost his leg. But it's actually good thing for me to see him where he is now, because he's now representing South Africa. He's doing shot put for South Africa and stuff like that. And then talking to him, I actually saw that like he is happy. He's not. He's enjoying what he's doing. And he was actually saying, you should come and join. Come every Tuesday. We're gonna play together and stuff like this. So it was actually quite interesting. So
I assume you're probably going to join them now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might.
Okay.
I might, because it was nice. I mean, it's a nice environment. The coach is good, and he lets you experience the game yourself. Like he's there with you. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He teaches you step by step, and it's not like he's harsh or anything like that. He takes you step by step and he just lets you be free.
So I mean, you've mentioned your friend, the one that had the motorbike accident. Yes. So what he was able to do, he was able to reframe a negative experience, and that allowed, with it reframing, it allowed him to actually develop. And it required a lot of motivation, but he was able to do that.
Definitely it does. And one thing that he mentioned was the sport itself is the best cardio you can have. It's the best cardio, because he as big as he is, he's saying he sweats so much that he has lost a lot of weight just playing the sport, because you're not using your legs. You're sitting down and you're stretching there.
It's sort of like a cardiovascular workout.
It's a huge cardio.
Okay.
So that was quite interesting.
Racy, it's been a great pleasure having you on the show, and we'll hopefully see you in one of the future episodes as well.
Yeah. Oh, hope so. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
All right. Awesome.
So there you have it. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for another episode, same time, same place next week.